Hi everybody, Colin Stevenson here. How are you all doing? Today I'm joined again with my hero, John Lenhart. Hi, John.
Hi.
Now, last week I explained to everybody that we were at the last of the intangible drivers. Now, when I explained this to people, I would like you to know it was the last of the single intangible drivers. Today we are going to cover server why. Now, the reason that this is not the last or the reason that this wasn't the last is because this is an amalgamation of all the intangible drivers. And John's going to let us know today about how that we can kind of look for a server why.
Right. So this one is super complicated. We said that teacher Y was the most difficult to interact with because what they want, the effect they want, they usually don't state. This one is really tricky. Okay, it's very complicated. So if you remember, we talk about everybody's intangible drivers is a why and a how. Colin is compassion, server. So the effect he wants to have on other people is compassion. He wants their pain to be bared. And how he does it is he does whatever it takes, server. I'm administrator teacher. I want people to be in the right spot, and I do it by explaining their teaching, okay? We've gone through all the intangible whys, driver whys, except now we're going to look at server. And the only way we can talk about server is we have to know all the other ones. So server why is really complicated because it can be any of the other intangible driver why. So remember, what's the impact? So the way I like to look at this is everybody other than server Y wears a pair of glasses. So Colin has compassion glasses on.
Yeah.
So Colin sees the world as who's in the most pain. How much pain is everybody in? That guy's in a lot of pain. That guy's not in very much pain. That guy. Colin sees the world through those glasses. I have administrator glasses on. I see the world through how far away people are from where they're supposed to be. That person's not very far from their goal. Wow, that person's a long way away from their goal. That's how I see it. A server Y has 7 sets of glasses, and they can change their glasses with every sentence. So it's very, very difficult to follow these people. They're very complex people. So anybody you know, when they say they're very complex, they are server wide, because what happens is they can say something from a compassion perspective. Oh, don't feel bad. It could happen to anybody, but that thing broke. Now they're at perceiver, but we need to get over here administrator. And it's like, but if you don't know the intangible drivers, you're like, why is that person talking?
Yeah.
And because people don't know why the person's saying what they're saying, people are skeptical of them. So if you know somebody you're skeptical of, they're server why. You don't know why they're saying what they're saying. What effect do you want to have on me? Okay. Yeah. And so then what happens is you end up not trusting them, and they end up not trusting other people because people don't trust them.
Yep. Oh, right. Okay. So I know a few of these people in my life. And because, again, going back to the video we did the other day about the not being understood, because they're so hard to understand, because they change so much, they don't believe they're understood either. So sometimes this can cause them to be standoffish in certain ways as well. They can move from place to place, but they might not feel comfortable doing so because they don't believe that they're going to be understood. So this can actually make people more shy or kind of hide who they are as well, which can be very, very difficult.
So, okay, remember last week we talked about teacher why, and we went through all 7 hows with that. So let's talk about one of those combinations with server why. Server.
Yeah.
So a person who's server, we like to say Superman, but there are a lot of people on LinkedIn who are servers. And a server is a connection machine. Yep. They love to connect this person with that person. And so server is, they are one of 49 people. And what a server can do is they can get any 2 or 3 people to get along. So if there's 2 or 3 people fighting, they can walk in that room and instantly get them to get along. So what happens is when they are in with 3 or less people, they're an extrovert. Yeah. They're outgoing, they talk. When they get in a room full of 4 or more people, they see so many things they can do, they get overwhelmed, they shut down. So one of the proofs you're a server is, are you an extrovert with 3 or less people, double dating or whatever? And when you get in a room, are you an introvert? And a lot of executives are servers because they can do anything. They can make anything happen. So what happens? So the server how causes them to be likable. Server why makes you skeptical. So what happens is I coach a couple of executives who are server. And these people get everything done. They're amazing getting things done. But when they have to give a presentation, there's a room full of people. And what I teach them to do is focus on 2 or 3 people in the room and act like you're just talking to them, and they're able to talk. But that's, so the server is that person that goes in their shell in a group and is out of their shell one-on-one or with 2 or 3 other people.
Do you know, I am compassion server, as we've spoken about before. I recognize that trait that you're talking about, because sometimes I can walk into a room and feel so much pain from so many people that I can't be in that place at the one time to help them all. So that can cause me to close off. So as you're talking about server wanting to help and connect, I want to help and heal and understand and bear the pain of so many people at the one time, and I don't have the physical capabilities of doing it. So while I'm in that point, I will step back. So I totally understand and, you know, feel where you're coming from in the server. And Superman, he's there with the police. He's then there with, you know, the people that are in trouble. He's then there with the people that are, you know, that are causing the trouble. He's with all of them, moving in and out to try and get this problem dissolved, or the people to justice and things like that. And again, that makes complete sense for the people that you're speaking about.
Right, and we're going to do a video in a couple of weeks on server, because there's so many on LinkedIn, and they have a lot of issues, because when you realize you're a human and you get energy doing anything, they'll get energy doing anything. It causes a lot of problems. So what I want to do is I want to show you that in stories, in literature, in movies, they always have a server character. That's the character that's like, has every possible answer. They're the perfect assistant. You know, they can do anything, okay? It is super hard to find characters that are server why and not server how in TV shows or movies, because they're just so complicated. People don't feel they're real. So I'm going to give you 3 examples of server whys in real life, just to show you that there's, you know, can't find a character like this, okay, in TV shows and stuff. So one of them is Mr. Rogers. Okay. Mr. Rogers is the opposite of you, Colin. Mr. Rogers is server compassion. So a compassion how always talks nice and soft. And the problem is that we don't know why Mr. Rogers is talking nice and soft to us. Does he want us to be aware? Does he want us to understand? Does he want us to be excited? We don't know. And so it all kind of feels creepy. We're not really sure what's going on. And there's this whole documentary, Mr. Rogers is very complicated person, very complex. Yeah, server why.
That's mega. Oh, wow. That makes so much sense. And it actually now shows me I've just totally clicked to certain people in my life that actually do that. That's mega. That's just changed my perception on different people now as well.
So another person in real life who's had a lot of books written about him, okay? I honestly think more than any other American football coach is Vince Lombardi. I'm in Wisconsin. There's Lombardi land, okay? Vince Lombardi was server teacher. So he was a teacher how like me, and he would teach, and he'd give all these explanations and all these, you know, this is why, and this is why, and this is why. But all these books have been written about him because they're going, he was a really complex guy. I mean, he sounds like he could be perceiver teacher and yell at you, but then he could pull a guy aside and be compassion teacher. Oh, but then he could administrator teacher like me and coordinate the group. He could be exhortative teacher. It's like, they're like, everybody's like, you couldn't really pin him down. 1 minute he could be screaming at you. In one sentence, he could scream at you. And the next sentence, he could try to comfort you.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's why all these books are written. Everybody's trying from the outside, trying to tell you what this guy was like. I'll tell you what he's like. He was server why. And so in a sentence, he can switch his glasses and have a totally different reason why he's doing what he's doing.
That's mega now.
There's a story that he used to run this play called the Power Sweep. And John Madden, who's a famous coach and commentator, as a young person, was excited to go see Vince Lombardi give a talk on the Power Sweep. And so he's like, this is going to be great. And he thought he was a great coach. Well, Madden thought he was a good coach. He knew Lombardi was a great coach. He sat down. Vince Lombardi diagrammed this one play and talked about it for 6 hours. He ran this one play against every possible defense and every combination. And that's what Server Y does. Server Y's, they look at you, Colin, and you sit there and go, excuse me, they're in pain. And they go, yeah, they're in pain. And they need to be aware. And they, like, these Server Y's look at all of us and go, don't you guys get it? There's a lot of things that are needs here. You guys only see one need. I see all these needs. Lombardi can talk about one football play for hours because he could see all the possible ways that play could go.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I've got something that I know that's very close to me that is a server administrator. And this, this video will be getting shown to them very soon.
Well, you just named the third one. So server administrator. So there's another football coach. And I do think that it's interesting, you know, in American football, it's very strategic. It's very much, it has analogies to war and you know, handling all these different aspects and seeing this 360. So right now, what many people believe to be the greatest football coach is Bill Belichick. They believe he should put his name. The Super Bowl trophy is called the Lombardi Trophy. A lot of people think Belichick should have his name on it, the Belichick Trophy. Belichick is server administrator, just what you just said. And so what happens is he's always moving people around and you never know why. And the joke is in his press conferences, he won't answer a question. People are trying to find out, why'd you do that? It's just the way it worked out. It's like, but in his head, he sees everything from so many different angles that normally whenever they do some sort of little mini documentary on him, they have to do it in 2 or 3 parts because to cover this guy, he's really complex. He is a server Y administrator how. So that's why it's when you look at people, we see them all the time. When you look in literature, we just see servers. We don't see these other versions of people.
Now, going back to the kind of server administrator thing, or the server anything really, is it possible that they don't understand their uniqueness and this is why they can struggle in life sometimes?
Well, you know, they struggle in life because a couple of reasons. It's definitely because they don't understand uniqueness. One reason is when people get skeptical of them, they start getting skeptical of other people. And so I like to ask somebody, are you skeptical of other people? Yeah. Your server Y because you get people skeptical. And what I tell server Ys is there's only 7 reasons why you do anything. And you do all 7. If you would tell people why you're doing that one, people would stop being skeptical of you. So that's the first way I help people, you know, these server Ys get all confused because they don't understand that about themselves. The second thing is, especially if they're married or have friends. And this is where I like to say, to server Ys, your spouse needs our training. Your spouse needs to understand the intangible drivers because you are flipping your glasses sometimes every sentence. And if your spouse doesn't understand what you flip to, they're just gonna, I just can't follow you. And they're not gonna connect. Versus when you understand what we understand, you can watch a server Y and go, I can watch these people talk like old Lombardi clips or whatever, and I can go, okay, there he is, compassion. Now there he's administrating. Well, there he's exhorting. Now he's giving. He's making it better. Now he's, you know, I can show you every sentence what he's doing. So that's the key is that if we understand, if these server Ys understand themselves, then they also can help other people understand them and, you know, explaining why they're doing what they're doing and the people closest to them being able to follow them because they are going to move very, very, very fast.
Yeah. Now, obviously, we understand now where we are in terms of who they are and what they do. If you were speaking to a server anything, okay, so just a server Y, how would you explain to them to try and understand themselves?
So what I like to do is I like to pick I like to pick who their friend is. Like, who's their friend or who's their spouse? You know, especially if their friend was you, compassion, I'd say, you ever notice how Colin always is focused on how much pain people are in and how help people feel better? Yeah. And they'll make yeah. Why is he stuck there? And it's like, okay, then I explain the glasses. He's got these glasses. And then I explain, I got these glasses. You have 7. And you can see it. Their unconscious already knows it. But when you say that to them, like, oh, that is me. That is, you know, I go, aren't you frustrated that people don't see? Like, it's very powerful to be server Y. It's very, you know, if you're server how, everybody loves you. If you're server Y, it's very powerful, but people are skeptical. And the point I try to make people is this server Y is very powerful. You see the whole dimension, but people can't keep up with you.
Yeah.
And so that's why people can't keep up with you. It's not you're a bad person, you've done anything wrong. It's that you're flipping like this, and it helps to understand yourself, but it helps to help your friends understand you. Like I said, a lot of times I'm like, man, oh man, you know, I'll take the server Y will say, the other reason why, you know, server Ys will need our course is they need to understand the other 6 intangible Ys. We just went through them. So any of the server Y can look at the previous 6 videos and go, oh, I know when I act like that. Oh, I know when I act like that. Oh, I know when I act like that. So they need to understand it for that. But I think a spouse or a best friend of a server Y, if they don't really understand these intangible drivers, it's going to be hard to be that person's friend and really connect and build a lasting friendship, you know, and grow it without understanding that this person is shifting gears so quickly.
Yeah, because I know a couple of server Ys, and I get frustrated because sometimes I don't understand where they are, and because they don't tell me that, I don't hulk out with it, but I feel like it. I feel like getting myself to this stage. I just want to feel you. I want to feel where you are. What are you thinking? Why are you doing this? Why are you, this is causing you pain, you know? And it's like, I want to know why, and I can't find out. And then they don't explain because they don't believe they have to, but they don't realize they've been through 2, 3, or 4 maybe intangible drivers within a short period of time. So then when I'm zoning into one and feeling the kind of compassion, the feelings, they'll move into another one. I'm like, oh, this bit, sometimes they can conflict with themselves. So they'll think and speak one way, and they'll think and speak another way, and then they both conflict, which stops them from thinking at all. And you're like, please.
Right, because they get around an issue. So that's the issue. Now I'm going to just jump ahead here before we end, just to make this one point. Another way that server Ys, the reason they need to understand this is the amount of tension we feel with each other, and tension is not bad.
Yep.
But the amount of tension we feel with each other is the difference in our Y. So a perceiver Y with an exhorter Y is going to feel the most tension in the world.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happens is that, you know, compassion giver server in the middle, they don't experience a lot of tension with other people. So server Y, you know, I'm over here at administrator. Towards one end, there's only exhorter. You know, you're over here at compassion. If a server Y starts acting at perceiver, I'm going to feel a lot of tension. You're not.
Yeah.
If they start acting an exhorter, I'm not going to feel a lot of tension. You are.
Yeah.
So the thing is that all of this is about safety. You know, we talk about these communication guidelines, making the connection, being safe. Then you can be creative. The tension is where you create something. So the server Ys are really in charge with how profitable a situation is. And what they need to become masters of is how much tension can this person safely handle. So if they're a server Y and they're talking to a perceiver Y, and that perceiver Y is on edge, they should try to be at perceiver Y or teacher Y. If they go out to exhorter Y, the perceiver Y can't handle that amount of tension, and they'll go off. Why did the perceiver Y go off? Because the server Y brought too much tension for that person. So that's the thing, is where server Ys are very powerful. They can drive a group, and if they understand how to move that to what other people need, which is what a server is, you move to the needs. If they can move it to the level that someone can safely handle that tension, they can make everybody better. So it's very powerful. Lombardi was a master at that. That's what he did, was he moved that, you know, basically he wasn't a racist. He wasn't, he had black players on the team, he had white players on the team. He treated everybody the same. But what it was he treated everybody according to their uniqueness. Yeah. Whatever anybody needed, he knew how to move just enough that this is the most tension this person can safely handle. Now, this is the most tension this person can handle. He knew how to do that, and he moved his team, and he won all these championships. Yeah. And that's really what it is. So that's where server-wise get themselves in trouble. If they bring tension that this person can't safely handle just because they want to, they're the ones who's causing trouble.
I love that. So it's like supplying the tension that doesn't break them, so that then they can feel and they can carry on with it. That's amazing. And I'm definitely going to be sending this video on to a couple of people without a doubt. But no, honestly, thank you so much. Next week, we will be looking at part 3 with our last video due to the conflict, and we'll start on our hows. We've done a couple, but the hows, and this is again is going to throw people into another abyss of knowledge where they can just kind of soak it all in it and understand themselves. So thank you so much, John, again for your time, and I look forward to speaking to you next week. Take care. Cheers, John. Bye.